When it comes to supply and demand as a strategy, these are the only things you should look out for. The first one is the structure of the market. Now, if you're making an analysis on the chart, the first thing you should determine is the structure of the market. You have to know if this is a bullish market or is this a bearish market. So when you determine the structure of the market, the second thing you should look out for is the current price momentum. Now, taking us back to the first thing being the market structure of price. Let's say the structure of price on the weekly time frame is bullish. You're not trading the weekly time frame, you're not picking entries on the weekly time frame, but you're aware that the bigger structure of this particular pair I want to trade is bullish. And then once you get the current momentum of price being, let's say, a bear, price has to sell to the demand region that will continue the buys. That sells, you can benefit from it if you have a supply zone that is going to respect the sell. So the first thing is the structure of the market. The second thing is the momentum of price. Now, the third thing being marking out your supply and demand regions. This is the very important aspect of the strategy, because if you mark out a demand zone that is not valid or a supply zone that is not valid, you are going to hit stop loss. So when marking out a valid supply and demand zone, you have to look for a strong leg out, you have to look for a clean base, you have to look for the retail zones. So these three things need to be in alignment for you to say, oh, I've spotted a valid supply and demand zone. But then it is not yet complete if the market structure is against your supply and demand zone. It's better you focus on the actual bigger structure of the market. So if the market is bullish on the bigger time frame, look for buys. If the market is bearish on the bigger time frame, look for sells. It's as simple as that. That is how best you can trade supply and demand. Then you can now look at things like entries and exits, because if your exit is not on point, if your entry is not on point, you still lose your trade. So marking out your supply and demand zone is just half the work. The other work is picking the right entry and picking the right exit. So this is how to trade supply and demand.